this game ends up going the distance here. Simply the income. Welcome to Catalina, which will be the venue of the third and final game in this series. Spawning in the 1 o'clock position as the yellow Zerg player representing Team My Insanity, bidding for a place in the quarterfinals of this qualifier. It is Petraeus. His opponent spawning in the 5 o'clock position as the blue Protoss player representing Planet Key Dynamics. Known for quite a lot of these Game 2 cheesy shenanigans, I have to say, today so far. We have a Game 3 now. What's he going to do when it's all on the line? It's GungFuBanda. Well, what he's first going to do is go Nexus first. Because, hey, you know, why the heck not? Petraeus is going for the spawning pool first, perhaps wary of potential cheese coming in as well, just wanting to play it a little bit safer. His first Overlord is going to be able to successfully scout the starting location of our Protoss. Meanwhile, GungFuBanda is also going to know where Petraeus is spawned. The probe is going to be heading to the left-hand side first. And there we go, sees the pylon here as well, knows exactly what's going on, and we'll just straight up go in to see what's happening. The probe moving back as soon as the Overlord has been spotted as well, knows he needs to scout the 1 o'clock position as quickly as possible, and the first 4 lings are going to be out as well. Oh. So let's see what he ends up doing with this scout. Nexus now nearly complete actually for our Protoss. And both gases being taken inside the main base. We have 3 workers in the first, now 3 workers in the second as well. So you're going to be going for some aggressive teching up very shortly indeed. Of course, he just spent a lot of minerals on these Nexi. So he's just going to want to aggressively get his economy up while seeing how quickly he can take. He doesn't want to be spending too many resources here. In terms of just getting a massive army together. 1 ling at the natural, 3 inside the main are going to be very annoying right now. We actually have this Zealot. Ooh, going to try and dispel these Zerglings before the Zealot even comes out. A little bit of micro and a good amount of forced not mining actually coming out right now from GungFuBanda. And Petraeus microing this pretty well indeed. Just the single Zergling sort of racing around to try and kill off these pros. But now he's going to be joined by his buddies up in the main base. Once again, these 4 Zerglings. Zealot being very, very angry and chasing them all the way out. But now we have the Mothership Core in on the action as well. And I think that's going to spell the end of this particular bit of aggression for Petraeus. In the meantime, now that those lings no longer pose a danger of getting inside the main base, we have the Stargate coming down from our Protoss player. But this Overlord is going to go straight into where the Stargate is. So let's see if he stops short of that. Yes, he stopped short of that, so he's not going to spot the Stargate. We've got Overlords getting into position for future scouts everywhere else. He will be able to see both gases at the natural. Always a nice spot to have here on Catalina. And generally speaking, you're less likely to want to be in this bottom right position on Catalina because of all 3 spawning locations. There's just so much more airspace here, which means any potential Warp Prism play, drop play if you're a Terran, Mutalisk play, so on and so forth, just becomes a little bit more effective, a little bit easier, a little bit higher in terms of potential for damage. And we are going to see a Phoenix coming out here from GungFuBanda, so he is straight up just wanting to stop his opponent from scouting, killing off as many Overlords as he humanly can. That's going to be very interesting indeed. And now, the first Overlord's being attacked by Phoenixes. Is everything else going to run away? I wouldn't be surprised if it does, but this guy, well, he's going for the absolute YOLO approach, and he's going to be paying the price for it very shortly indeed, as the second Phoenix hops out of that Stargate as well. We have a fast infestation pit coming out from Petraeus too. Very, very quick indeed. Only now have we got the Zergling speed commencing. And +1 melee attacks being lined up here for our My Insanity player as well. So now that all the overlords are dead, that are around GungFuBanda's base, Petraeus doesn't actually have too much in the way of map vision. So the map control has been ceded at the moment to these Phoenixes that are going to be doing a really, really good job. And Petraeus, in the meantime, is just going to go ahead and make sure he can take his third behind this. The Queens need to stay in a bit of a tight formation, more Phoenixes, and we just risk getting them picked off by getting picked up. And the creep spread now beginning to spread towards the middle of the map. Just the one active creep tumor at the moment, so he's not going to be tackling this from many, many different directions. And we are indeed going to be going straight into swarm hosts. All right, and in fact, the Phoenixes, while doing a little bit of damage, are going to be spotting the infestation pit and the upgrade coming in as well. So he's definitely going to be suspecting that. Good amount of damage from these Phoenixes at the moment, but the Queens are going to be popping back in. What is inside the main base? We have got 2 Spore Crawlers actually in the mineral line. That should be enough. The Queen has to get to safety. Will be able to do so. Good micro coming out of there from Petraeus and quick reaction times. Well, we just need to wait for more of these swarm hosts to be coming out. So, let's see how Petraeus is going to be using these. The number of Phoenixes, by the way, have stayed at 5. We have also taken a third base for our Protoss player as well. And we've got the robotics bait down for transition into Colossi at some point later on in the game. Queen's still continuing to chase them down. Now, he must be doing the math here, and he must be going, if there are 5 Queens at the third base, there can't possibly be that much defense at the natural expansion, and you'd be right for thinking that. He picks off yet another Overlord, just trying to be as annoying as possible here. And, well, I'm kind of looking forward to this, guys. We're going to have some Locust upgrades coming in. So let's see how this changes the dynamic of the game as Petraeus is putting his faith in Swarm Host. Queen gets picked up in the main base, and despite having those 2 Spore Crawlers there, the Queen is going to go down. A couple of these Overlords will try to get picked apart as well, but the Spore Crawler is doing a good amount of damage, and not quite able to pick one of those off. We have, just a couple of workers being killed off here, in addition to the pylon there as well. Really, really well played there from GungFuBanda. Number of workers killed at the moment, 9 versus 5, so sort of both sides doing as much as they can right now. And Petraeus, in the meantime, continuing to spread his creep as far into the middle of the map as possible, being very, very aggressive with these swarm hosts. Like, unbelievably aggressive right now. And that's because we have the Flying Locust upgrade, ladies and gentlemen. These are post-patch Locusts, and it does make for significantly faster harassment as they land and try and kill off a Colossi, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do so. A Gateway Force actually going to try and stop this as well. Colossus losing about half its shield before these Locusts go down. The Zergling run by in the third base now as well, as Petraeus starts to really ramp up the aggression, hold position to try and take apart as many of these probes as possible. He's doing a really good job so far, actually. Number of workers down to 56 on 3 bases, so not catastrophic, but up to 19 workers killed is pretty darn good. Where are the swarm hosts? There they are. So are we going to see a bit more harassment? This actually forces GungFuBanda to just stay in his base. It's really difficult to deal with those locusts now that they can just kind of fly into the main. That's exactly what Petraeus is doing. He's using this to his advantage by saying, look, I know you're not going to be able to continue to move out of your base very quickly here, because otherwise I basically pick apart your entire mineral line. So, nice usage there of those new swarm hosts. Another attack by those Zerglings at the third base. This time he fancies taking on the Zealots in a head-to-head fight. Will be able to kill them off. There's another warp in though, and he does have to be a bit conscious of that, because with the photon cannon down, GungFuBanda is simply going to have enough to ward this away. And the Phoenixes, a little bit of a glancing blow towards the main base, but those 2 Spore Crawlers in the middle line are going to make this very difficult. He will see the 4th base complete as he flies over there. That's really not the focal point of this game right now. And wow, these Colossi being particularly brave with an observer in tow, trying to kill off this really, really aggressive creeps tumor. Very, very aggressive spreading coming out of here, actually, from Petraeus. We'll see if it ends up paying off, because the Locusts are currently keeping GungFuBanda really pinned down. But it's not doing catastrophic levels of damage or anything like that. You can see they're only lasting 25 seconds now, so yes, the cannon went down, but the Locusts actually disappeared very quickly after that too. And it looks like it's just going to be used for a transition. We have Ultralisks incoming from our My Insanity Zerg, as well as Vipers on the way as well. Now, of course, Abduct as well as the Blinding Cloud coming out from that as well. Nice little versatile unit as long as you have the energy to use. And the Swarmhouse once again are going to be targeting the main. He's saying, have you got units here? Are you sure? You probably want to be heading back into your base at some point soon, because now I'm about to pick apart everything that's in there. And it looks like the Stargate's going to get taken down as well. No, he's actually going for the next side. I don't think he'll get it in time though. He gets all the shields off of it, and that's going to be it. GungFuBanda now out in the middle of the map, starting to gain a little bit of a foothold. He managed to kill off a couple of these creep tumors in the middle of the map, but he's not really in a position yet where he could just confidently press across the map and say, I'm just going to take this with my death ball. I don't think he's there. He doesn't feel quite as comfortable as he wants to be. He's got a lot of upgrades on the way as well. +3 attack is about to finish. He's got a Warp Prism incoming. And, well, a couple of pylons sort of being put here and there too. In the meantime, Petraeus, he's just sort of hanging out in the middle of the map, waiting to see what the Protoss' next move will be. And it looks like the Swarmhouse will be enough to ward this away. But then, I don't know, is Petraeus going to be aggressive? I mean, we can just get the Swarmhouse here again and try and do a little bit of damage inside the main base. That really wouldn't surprise me. But right now, he's feeling the need to actually keep the Swarmhouse with his army, waiting until he gets a decent number of Colossi with this composition here. We also have a good amount of energy, actually, on these Vipers as well. And that should be a potential scary point for our Protoss player. Here come the Swarmhouse. And here come the Flying Locusts going back into the main base. And what units do we have here to defend? Not an awful lot is the answer, as I'm pretty certain this Stargate is just dead. Or no, he could actually just go for the Nexus. He is going to go for the Nexus. All right. Can he get another building as well? He's certainly going to give it a go. Nope, the Stargate down to 380 hit points. No big deal. And Petraeus, oh, he's even scouted the 4th as well. Potential to get simply kill that off with these Lings as long as he has an engagement somewhere else at the same time. We have a War Prism now, just trying to drop some Zealots into the natural expansion. Will succeed in killing off a Queen at the very least, and a couple of workers. The units killed at the moment is 24-13 in favor of Petraeus this game. So reasonably aggressive game here. The Lings try to do exactly that at the 4th base, but unfortunately they get completely stopped in their tracks, just a little too close to GungFuBanda's army, and this Nexus will survive the fight another day. But hey, the Warp Prism is still alive, and a lot of damage still possible from GungFuBanda. Don't forget, a lot of units and a lot of damage can pop out very quickly from that Warp Prism. And with that +3 complete, it could be really, really sweet indeed. We have +1 air weapons coming in from our Protoss now as well, in addition to a Void Ray. So a little bit unconventional perhaps as something to switch into here. But GungFuBanda is determined to make this work. He's back up to 181 supply. His army supply is lower than that of Petraeus, and Petraeus has got 2-2 upgrades versus the +3, but no armor actually. And well, as long as he stays offensive and has good unit positioning, those +3 attack upgrades on those Colossi are going to be really, really helpful, especially if he's able to zone out using those High Templars. In the meantime, the 5th base is going to try and get cancelled here. The Phoenixes will be able to continue to pick off Overlords, and I think the Zealots are going to force a cancel. Potential for an engagement in the middle of the map as well. Oh, and not even cancel, so the 5th base just goes down. That's 300 minerals down the drain for Petraeus. Currently a little supply blocked as well, but he is already on 196. One Storm to start off this engagement to say, no, mate, you're not coming in here. I will decide when you're going to engage me. Thank you very much. And Petraeus currently rather happy to oblige. He's now taking his 5th base closer towards his opponent in the 4 o'clock position. And, well, here come the Swarmhouse. Once again, the Swarmhouse being used very effectively as a harassment unit here post-patch. And a bunch of Lings now just going to try and defend the position for Petraeus in the top left. Zealots, in the meantime, trying to kill off as much of the natural expansion as they can. And don't forget, the upgraded hatchery is actually here as well. So if he gets the hive, that could be big. But we have Ultralisks running away from Zealots. I guess that's a thing. In the meantime, we have a massive engagement in the middle of the map, so let's focus on this for now. Blinding Clouds will start off the engagement here. Reasonably good storms, but unfortunately, if they're just targeting a single Colossus each because they're huge, that's not actually going to be too effective at all. And the Swarmers have just been very, very cost-effective with the Locusts hitting the Colossi effectively non-stop. The Phoenixes have done a good job, actually, of picking stuff up, but there are no more gateway units out in front to sort of bolster this force here. And even though the units that GungFuBanda has left are really, really powerful, he doesn't have that many of them, and he hasn't got a buffer for them, so that could be interesting indeed. He's actually opting to defend this base here with 4 cannons, being very paranoid of a counterattack where a base gets picked off. And in the meantime, we can see Petraeus. Is he going for a round of drones? Nah, of course he's not. He's going to want to get more and more units. Oh, there we go. Just 2 in this base right now. And he's also going to simultaneously try and kill this base off once and for all. I think he's only going to get the Stargate, though, realistically. I mean, the Locusts don't really last enough to do too much else, but the fact that they can be this versatile is just really good in the first place. And yep, this base is all but abandoned right now. Are we going to see another wave of Locusts? It doesn't look like it for the moment. GungFuBanda, in the meantime, is going to be moving towards Tempests. So that's going to be a barrel of laughs. Let's see how well that ends up going for him. He's got the +1 air attack already complete. And he's getting Stargates number 2 and 3. So he's saying, alright mate, you want to be playing this late game? We can play this late game. But I have to be honest and say, I think Petraeus is feeling reasonably comfortable at the moment, though. He's maxed out. He's on 3 2 upgrades, and he's got +3 on the way. And there's just potential here to do quite a lot of damage. Here come the Flying Locusts. Is he going to be moving down and trying to attack these Stalkers and High Templars? It looks like, and that just forces GungFuBanda all the way back. GungFuBanda basically needs to find a way to get enough DPS in his army so that he can take out the Locusts at range and not take very much damage and continue to push forward into the Swarm House. He hasn't really been able to do that yet. He hasn't gained that level of confidence that's required to play against this style of play. And Petraeus, in the meantime, he's gone Great Aspire, and he's going to be going for Broodlords. And that's just going to be rough in the sense that we're going to have, a lot of free units in this army, and actually picking off a couple of those High Templars to start things off with, and GungFuBanda deciding now has to be the time. He's moving forward. Good transfusions from the Queen. Take forever for those Broodlords to actually get killed off. And we have Locust coming in from the right-hand side, doing an awful lot of damage to GungFuBanda. Is it going to be enough, though? The last Broodlord is going to die. It's mainly Queens left in this army composition. Just a couple of Corruptors as well. And it looks like by the skin of his teeth, GungFuBanda is going to be able to survive here. In the meantime, a Zealot Warpit in the 4th base location is getting thwarted. And Hero Ultralisk has 6 kills. It's now going to be 7. And now, can Petraeus defend this right-hand side base? He's making an awful lot of static defense. He knows that when the Protoss decides to Protoss, he basically does an awful lot of damage. And it's very difficult to get out of this situation as Zerg. You need to make sure you surround the army and kill it off once. And you have to kill it off once and for all as well. These units are very, very expensive. There's no Mothership Core here. There's no recall. And they are actually being bunched in. The Locust Swarm right on top of them. And that is an excellent engagement for Petraeus. Yes, he lost the hatchery, but GungFuBanda is down to underneath 100 supply right now. And I don't see any more of these bases going down. There's a single Zealot here. And admittedly, it can eventually do an awful lot of damage. But right now, Petraeus definitely enjoying the upper hand over GungFuBanda, who has to try and rebuild. This left-hand side base doing a reasonably good job. Let me take a look at what the Overlord thinks of that. He actually sees everything. So what is Petraeus going to be doing about it? What is he coming up with his next army? It looks like it's just going to be Lings and Ultras for now. Nothing innovative or super scary. And we have got... is this Dark Templar going to be enough to potentially take down this hatchery? Very, very easy, of course, to take out the Zealots when you have this many Zerglings, but what about the unit you cannot see? And it looks like simultaneously these Swarm Hosts are going to be responsible for making sure that GungFuBanda is not mining from this left-hand side. Good hiding away, by the way, of all those drones. Wanting to make sure that they don't get sniped off by the Swarm Host. A really nice bit of foresight there from GungFuBanda. And how is Petraeus going to be pressing the advantage? Well, he's got 5 Ultras. I mean, that's quite a lot. Only the 10 Swarm Hosts. He's actually focusing on Corruptors and making sure he can counter the ground army with fewer Swarm Hosts and more just substantial bulky units. We've got a pair of Queens on the way as well. not all is doom and gloom for our Protoss. I mean, look, this 5th base is going down, and look at how much he's trailing by in terms of supply, guys. It's over 50. I'm not going to make that number up. You know, it's bad. But do we see Petraeus going for a killing blow at any point? I don't think so. He hasn't really shown his dominance by saying, actually, I'm going to go and kill you now or anything like that. He's actually been very, very defensively minded with how he's played this game. We're now about to hit the half-an-hour mark. These swarmers are going to continuously chase these stalkers till they're over on the left-hand side. This 5th base, of course, has been spotted thanks to this overlord and the creep spread. The question is when it becomes a target. Single Dark Templar here, but there is a Spore and a Spine by this base as well. And, well, I think GungFuBanda is just chilling out and waiting for his ideal composition. I mean, he's getting double Void Ray at the moment, so he clearly wants it to be very different to what he has now. I wonder if he's banking on Petraeus just preparing for an awful lot of Colossi. A couple of these swarmers are actually going to get picked off right now, a little bit careless, leaving them so far forward, perhaps, as GungFuBanda tries to make a little bit of a snipe. And now Petraeus is going to be going for Infestors. Alright, this could be very, very interesting indeed. So many battles are won or lost with how well the Infestors are used. And in the meantime, this Ultra Army is going to be taking on a whole bunch of Stalkers here, and I don't think that GungFuBanda has the tank in front of these units to take this fight right now. So 6 Infestors on the way, and that's an awful lot of keeping units still that these guys are going to be doing. A couple more Zealots and a Dark Templar going to be facing off here as well, and it looks like the Ultralists are going to be able to clean this up. Unfortunately, just no damage there whatsoever. We have the Swarmers now moving in towards the left-hand side, slowly trying to choke the life out of this base. And Petraeus does know about it. He just needs to fly the Locust there once. And if absolutely nothing done is GungFuBanda, then that Nexus is going to go down as well. So 139 supply versus 193 supply. We've got a 3-3 upgrades on melee for Petraeus, and the ranged and air upgrades are lagging a little bit behind, but his numbers are looking fantastic. GungFuBanda, yes, he's blinking away with select groups of units right now. That's great. But what are we going to be doing in the late game? Petraeus has a 700 mineral, 2800 gas bank right now. He has the potential to basically resupply and do whatever he wants with those resources. And GungFuBanda is starting to build up a bit of a bank himself, but he's having a little bit of difficulty taking these new bases. You can see the Zerglings being very active on the map right now, and Petraeus really trying to limit his Protoss opponent to what he currently has. A couple of these buildings going down, but nothing too catastrophic from an infrastructure point of view. Oh man, we need to be so careful with these Void Rays. A Chain Fungal could very well spell the end of his air army here. And GungFuBanda launching a counterattack at this central location. Will he be able to take the hatchery yet? Actually, he's trying to snipe it. It's down to very, very low health. It's only 250, and he was focusing it down for so long, but it looks like it's actually going to stay alive. I'm a little bit surprised there, because he went in, the Ultras were hitting the Stalkers, and he was just continuously taking down the hatch. If he just kept right-clicking on the hatch, I think he would have got it, because I don't think there was a... Oh no, now there's a transfuse available, but I don't know if that Queen was actually there at the time. He might have given a good go, but it looks like he's just going to leave it alive for now. These Locusts are probably going to kill off this Nexus. They should have enough time. Oh, he wants to kill the probes instead. Okay, he won't have enough time to kill the Nexus if he wants to do that, but that's a good number of workers killed off, and this next wave should be able to pick off the Nexus as well if he so chooses. Very frustrating position for our blue player to be in. In the meantime, Zealot's going to be forcing a cancel over here on the right-hand side. 3 of them together. Attacking this hatchery doesn't even get cancelled, and they can start to work on the spine crawler as well. A single Ultralisk is going to be able to finish this job off. It doesn't look like there's much they can do. And there we go. So Petraeus at the moment still at maxed out 200 supply versus around 150, but there's been a lot of posturing through the middle of the map here and sort of slow positioning in this game as opposed to one of the players decisively taking that victory. We see this 4 o'clock base now officially becoming Petraeus's as he puts down a hatchery at that location. He's got a bunch of spine crawlers and a spore crawler there to protect it as well. And this army from the Zerg is just so big. It's 152 versus just 102 of the Zerg player. Well, Infested Terran to start the party off. Why not? Let's go ahead and kill off this pylon. That should be enough, no problemo, for that to die. And in the meantime, we have a Zealot hit squad looking very orderly there in 6. And this base is certainly going to get cancelled. There's no question about it. Manages to cancel at that time. Doesn't lose those resources. Bank currently 1.3k, 2.1k for Petraeus. And 700, 200 for GungFuBanda. But we need to see these infestors in use reasonably soon. We have an ultimate Death Ball air army coming out from GungFuBanda. Oh, an excellent fungal growth actually to begin with. And this could be very, very problematic indeed. 3 fungals, but he's not quite able to follow it up, and he is going to be moving out and moving away from those units right now. Man, this is really tense actually, because even though there isn't any sort of huge big engagement here, both players know that one big engagement is enough to win or lose this game. And Petraeus, in the meantime, just continuing to be very, very useful with the Swarm Host. Just laying down those Flying Locusts and running away. Are we going to be going for the Workers or the Nexus this time around? Looks like he's going for the Workers, but there aren't actually that many there. So the Nexus might... No, I don't think it's... Is it? It's just... Oh, 16 hit points. It was very, very close as to whether that was getting taken out, but we have another engagement over here. Are we going to see the fungal growth? We have a decent storm to start off with. The Corruptors, though, are quite large in number, and a good number of Transfuses going down on them as well. The Ultralists down below don't really have anything to do right now. The Void Rays are absolutely going to town on the rest of these Corruptors. The Queens doing a good job. Both sides taking heavy damage, and one of the Tempests is about to go down, but there are still 7 or 8 Void Rays left. Almost at the end of this engagement now. There's no more energy left for these Fungals, and it looks like GungFuBanda is going to be able to win this battle, but will he be able to translate it to winning the war? 120 versus 160 supply in favor of Petraeus now, and Petraeus has to decide what he's going to be building off the back of this, and it looks like it's doing nothing but Corruptors and Infestors. Okay. At least we have a game plan. We're going Air Protoss, Air Zerg by the looks of things. And we're still going to try and deny these bases as much as possible. Right, 16 hit point Nexus, guys, is not going to be... Oh, pardon me, is not going to be lasting for very long here. The Ultralists are coming to the party. All they want is a big hug. And these probes, well, are they actually going to get away? No, they all get hugged. It's alright, guys. We're spreading the love. And we have a single Void Ray here wreaking havoc in the 11 o'clock base. But the Void Rays here really are the problem. What can Petraeus do to actually stop the rot here? He's actually 60 supply up. But it's so difficult for him to do much right now. Oh, what an excellent fungal growth. Are there enough follow-ups available? We have a good number of Corruptors, but is it good enough to kill this many Void Rays? Good transfuses from the Queens, and it looks like the army from GungFuBanda is slowly getting whittled down. This hatchery gets taken out in the meantime. 1 hero Void Ray, but the main army is starting to disappear. The only consolation I would say, and it is actually a big consolation at this point, Petraeus doesn't really have the money to replenish his Corruptor count. So even though this army is eventually going down for GungFuBanda, there's nothing super solid that Petraeus has that's actually taking it out. Petraeus really wants 10 more Corruptors right now to try and shut this out once and for all when the aggression happens to start. And he hasn't got that, and as a result, GungFuBanda is actually taking him back down to about 110 supply. Coupling that with the constant denial of this base, and GungFuBanda is actually getting himself back into this game, if not ahead. So, very surprising turn of events there, just because if you looked at this game 10 in-game minutes ago, you would say that Petraeus was doing excellently well. He was 50 to 60 supply up on GungFuBanda. He had a Swarm Host flying around, picking off bases left, right, and center. It looks like he'd restricted his Protoss player only to the bottom bit of the map, but suddenly he wasn't able to react fast enough, by the looks of things, to this mass air transition coming out of GungFuBanda. And he's going to find it really frustrating. If he kills off this army, by the way, then I think he basically wins. But how is he going to kill off this army? That's really my question. We have 2 Queens and 2 Infestors here. I just don't think that's going to be enough. This base continuing to get denied. This Void Ray up to 16 kills and counting. Absolutely insane. Number of workers killed at the moment, 82 to 68. This is about as epic as these games get. And we both have attacks going on. We have the Ultralists hugging their way into the space on the bottom left-hand side, but the air army is doing so much damage here. 92 to 88 supply now, and a couple of infested Terrans, but not enough to make more than a token bit of resistance. The Spore Caller is going to go down. The Infested Terrans are going to go down. It's not going to be enough, and GG! GungFuBanda completes a 2-1 victory over My Insanity's Petraeus. The Ultralisks alone could not win him the game here, and this air army became unstoppable after those unfavorable trades with the Corruptors. Congratulations to GungFuBanda, who moves forward to the quarterfinals as My Insanity's Petraeus bows out of the tournament at this time.